So what I've done is I've recorded a video, just a screen recorder, and how I would like them to do the task. Hi there, count for a 10 and a lentil for a 1. So I'm explaining place value, and then I'm showing them the resources, showing them the resources and the activity I want them to do. So I want them to use, this was a Jamboard example for yesterday. OneNote works almost the exact same way, the task certainly does. So I want 10s in this column, I want 1s in that column, and I want you to split this number, what parts the 10s, what parts the 1s. I could even put a wee bit of extension in there and say, what do you wonder? What comes next, or what do you notice about bigger numbers? What's the next number going to be called? And you can give them all that extension work. I'm then showing them how to use the Dean's materials on MathSpot, because they might not have materials or anything lying about. So I've put everything that I need them to know on that video. It lasts about 10 minutes. It's maybe a wee bit long for learners, but I try to make it quite explicit for the example I'm sharing with educators here, and how I want them to complete that task. So that's what I want them to do. There's a video for it. I've then put, I've also put a link to this YouTube video, which I've done a kind of alternative to. So rather than recording my screen, I might not have that function, but what I've done is I've used my mobile phone, sat it on a wee box there, and I've just recorded me doing some place value on a bit of paper with chickpeas and lentils. But again, learners might not have chickpeas and lentils going spare, so they might not have any other materials going spare. You don't know what they've got in their household, or perhaps you do and you know they don't have it. So I've given them the option of using online materials, and I've given them the option of using good old-fashioned dried foods, or whatever else they've got. So I'm showing it kind of low-tech here. I've got my phone perched on a wee old shoebox here, and it's just used my phone to capture that and uploaded it to a YouTube channel, and I've also done it with screen recording. So you don't need anything fancy or clever, any gadgets. There's a scrap of paper with I think my MOT in the back of it or something, so it's nothing particularly high tech there, and I'm just giving an example of how you could do that in different ways. So I've given them the tutorial, and you don't have to do it two ways. I've just tried to cover all bases there. And then what I want them to do then, I've put a link in here for adults to the reference document. That might be useful to have a look at something about place value. So for whatever we look for place value, if I get stuck teaching place value at home or supporting my learner, I can have research of that web document and find, oh, that's what the teacher's talking about. I remember doing that in school. I remember 10s and units, 10s and 1s, and this is what the teacher's talking about. So I've used that reference document. You don't have to, it might be useful. And the actual material here that I want them to do, and again, there's quite a lot of materials attached, so I've just tried to be clear to them. I want them to watch the place value video. So this video is called place value, and then I want them to open the OneNote. So here's the OneNote here, and after that I want them to do the form, and this is the form here. The other bits are just suggestions. Now I'm going to open up the MathSpot as well, and again, rather than saying to them go and use MathSpot and expect them to find MathSpot, I'm giving them a link to the exact page I want them to use. So it's the MathSpot manipulatives. They're free. I found them useful. They come highly recommended by my numeracy and maths colleagues. And again, for this example, we're talking about Dean's blocks, so I can drag these and place them across the screen. So the task I have given my learners to do is a OneNote, and I found the best way to do this is to create the OneNote first. Go into your class notebook. So it's a wee section to show you that as well. So I've got a class notebook on my team. I've created this page first and then I've shared it. So I've got into class notebook. Wee second to load. There we go. So I've gone in, I've created a section called numeracy and maths. I've created a page in there. So add a section, add a page to that section. I've called it by the week beginning, and I've put an image. So I drew this image on PowerPoint, copied it across. You could just draw straight on the canvas. You can draw and you can insert here however you like. I thought an image is quite good for them to write on top, so if they move it, they move the whole image and they don't move parts. Again, different things to consider there. What I want them to do is write the number. So I've given them this worked example. So put the number 18 in. The number 18 is made up of 110 and 8 units, or 8 ones, And I've just suggested as well they might want to colour code it, so put the 10s in blue and the 1s in green to just match up the wee column I've made here. I want them to make a picture of the number as well, so again I can assess their understanding of how they've created that, and do they understand that 18 can be represented a few different ways. So I've got a 10 and an 8 and I've got 18 ones. Dean's blocks here, so I can do this, and again it's hoping your learners will start to see the benefit of, I've got to do this 18 times, that should be 18, or I can represent it with a 10 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 ones. So I'm sure somebody's counting them to check I've put 8. I'm using a Windows desktop, so I'm just going to use Snipping Tool. So you can go into your start menu and look for Snipping Tool. It's free, it's a part of Windows. And all I'm going to do is use the Snipping Tool to draw a rectangle. And I'm just using my keyboard here, Control and C to copy. You can go up to Edit and Copy. But I'm going to copy this image, or you can even save it if it's going to be useful if you use it again. I can save that to my computer. For this example, I'm just copying it, and I'm going back to here, and I'm going to select the page, and I'm going to paste that image on. So take a wee second for that image to load, but my learner can put that image onto their page, and they're able to share that with me as their worked example. I can just bring it across. So they can put that on their page there, and I can see that this is their worked example. They've put a 10 and an 8. Let's just to show you that a wee bit clearer, because there's already one in there. They can go down to this bit, the picture of the number, can stick it in, and they can scale that, etc. So there's their answer. They've made me a pictorial representation of the number. They could do that a few different ways. They've written the number and they've split it ones and 10s and 1s. So I've just made a copy of that picture and pasted 3 copies on, the number 23, and then I might leave some blank examples so that they go through it. Again, all I'm having to do is grab that image, copy, move down to a blank bit of the page, for me return a few times and paste that image again, and there we go. It's now a 10 question worksheet instead of a 3 question worksheet. So I want them to come up with a number, a 2-digit number. They might be feeling confident, 3-digit number, split it into 10s units. They can add their column. Because it's on OneNote, they can draw. So they can draw, and they could put a hundreds column in if they like. So I'm just doing that freehand with my mouse. You could also use, they could insert a table if that was a wee bit neater. They could put a table in, do hundreds, tens, units, whatever you like them to do. I quite like the fact that they can draw and they can respond in their own way. Can use different colours and things, but what's also good as well is they can either, so for that example here, they can use draw, they can type, and they can just type below the picture here and say 1, 10 and 7 ones. Or again, if they've got a touchscreen device, a mobile device, or they've got a Chromebook or a tablet or something that's touchscreen, I can also write that just with my finger in the screen. I'm writing this with a mouse, but I could write it with my finger on my laptop. So they can write that. Their studies again show the benefits of handwriting, so they can write it, they can type it, or if they even want to, they can go up to insert and they can insert an audio recording and say, Mr. Milliken, you can see here in my worked example, I've put 1 10 in and 7 ones, and that makes up to 17. I could have also put 17 ones, but that'd be quite time consuming. And what I noticed about this is, if I add another green Dean's stick there, if I add another 10, I would have 27. And they can record that. So I can actually hear what they're thinking, and that's really important for, again, having that, being able to listen to your learners' thoughts when they're not listen to their thoughts, that's a bit invasive, but to be able to hear their thinking and their understanding, to be able to do an assessment of verbal, something that they're telling you, not just showing you. And again, as the teacher, you can also use that too, so you could be selecting a wee bit on the page here, just beside it, and record it. George, brilliant job there. I can see you've got a grasp of the number 17 and place value. That's going great. Well done. Keep going, see if you can finish off the rest of the tasks. So you can go in and record your own feedback. Have you ever said to a learner, what did I say to you last week? Do you remember what I told you yesterday? and we're putting quite a bit of pressure on a learner to remember everything you tell them. But with this, the beauty is you can tell them something and you can say, go and listen to what I told you last week, and they can actually go back and hear what you said last week. So that's my thinking for a wee task. That took me about 10 minutes to make it. You saw me there, copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste. I can make that 10 questions instead of 2 very quickly. I can add verbal feedback. They can use verbal recording, the voice recording. I can draw on it, I can type on it, I can do loads of things here. I can draw circles around that and annotate it. Here's 10 and 8. You know, again, there's a 10 and a 7. I can draw all over it, write all over it, show my understanding in so many different ways. And again, it should, if I'm right there, I've got my dictate, so I can talk to type. So I can talk here, and OneNote will type on the screen for me. So if they've got to do a wee bit of writing, again, you can use the dictate to support your learners that might need that. Loads of bits to do there with OneNote, and that's what I'm thinking I would be doing my numeracy. Now the other part as well, if I go back to my assignment, I've added a quiz as well. So I'll show you this quiz example, and then what I'll do is I'll show you the literacy. It's a wee bit quicker, the literacy one, because I kind of covered the tools here already. So in that student view, here's my quiz, and the beauty is I can add a video to my quiz. So I put a video in at the start. I might have already shared it, but you could even just start with a quiz. Here's a video explaining what I want you to do. This is what place value means. I'm splitting it into what 10s and 1s. So when I ask them the question, what does the numeral 4 represent? Again, Immersive Reader will read that to them. And it's the 4 10s. Let's get one wrong. So what does the 6 represent here? And I've put 1 10, and we'll see the feedback I get. And I can also do not just multiple choice, I can do input. Now it won't let me type any letters, any text in here, but it will only accept a number, so the answer should hopefully be 23. I'm going to type 24, and I think this one's underused. The question I've added here is an upload file question, so if I wanted them to do some working, show me your calculations, show me how you've balanced that equation for algebra, or if you've had them drawing graphs and paper or whatever else it is, or making graphs out of sticks and things in the garden, they can take a photograph with their device and they'll get an option to upload. So when I upload file, I can just grab a file from my computer, from my document, and that's the same if they're accessing it on their phone. You could get them to do a handstand for PE, get a photograph of it, or a video of it even, and they can upload the photo or the video as their answer. And then when I submit that, what I get to see as the learner, I only get 33% of this, so I've made a few errors here. I got the first one correct, you can see the wee tick, and I've got a wee standard message there saying, well done, you get this right. But what I think is really important is not the questions they get correct, the ones they get wrong. So I got this one wrong, and what I've done is attached a feedback to that straight away saying, not quite, go and watch the video again, or try this video instead, and I can put a link to another YouTube or a BBC Bite Size or a web page, whatever I want. I can put a link to it in here, and if they get the question wrong, I'm giving them that instant feedback saying, here's what you need to watch instead. This will help you understand that better. And I think this is really useful for thinking about your retrieval practice, about are they able to go back, so they've done all the working, all the examples on their OneNote, but are they able to recall that information? Are they able to look at that and understand it when the question is posed to them? Not make it, but when can they read the Dean's values? So, and again, if there's any work uploaded there, I would get that there too. So as the teacher, what I will see is with my form, if it will open up for me here, forms looks a wee bit different. If you've not used it since before Christmas, they've changed the layout a wee bit. So this is my place value form that I've made, and when I've created it, the first bit I've done is, so I can put in my information here, and I can add new at the very start, so I can put a multiple choice, a text question, or a section. I like to put a section in at the start, and then what I can do in a section is add a video. It will ask me for, if I delete this, it will, so if I add a section, I can click on the wee icon and I can pick an image or a video to go. At the moment, it's only going to be a YouTube video that will work with Microsoft Stream, but it's got to be a YouTube video, so you can paste a link to a YouTube video. If you don't, if it's on something else, it's a BBC Bite Size video, what you can do is just in the text, is copy the link. So copy your web link and paste that in, and when the learner views it, they will see that as a web link, so they should get the web link from that. If it doesn't automatically work as a link, they can copy and paste it. Where did that go? So if I preview it, there we go, so the link's there, so they can click that. If that's the resources you want to use for the upload an image, then you can put that link in there as well. For making questions then, I click the question, can put the question in, I can again edit it, I can take that image away and add a new one, click the bit and I can add an image or a video per question, put a link to a video in. All I did for that one was search for 43, it brings up some images, put that one in, and I've got a quick, I don't have to go away and make images, I can grab some straight from the Bing browser. And again, once I put in my suggested answers, what I'll do is I'll make a new one. So if I add a new multiple choice question, put the question in here, blah 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 blah, question, yes, no, and what you can see here at the end is I can delete that answer, that suggested answer. I can add some feedback, so if this is the wrong answer, I will say, not quite, watch the video again, or whatever you need to point them to. Go look at this page, look at that page, or you might want to explain what they've done wrong. That you've carried something in the units there, or if you can make the question suit that. What I want to do for the correct answer is give it a wee tick, and that's just telling Forms that's the correct answer. So that when a learner does it, Forms will mark that for me, Forms will assess it, I don't have to lift a finger, it will assess it and it will give the feedback to the learner. And again, once I'm happy with that question, I can just copy it and I can edit it. So again, I can make a form really quickly. So this is, the first one was for 43, the second one was for 16. That was just copying the same question and duplicating it and then editing it as I required. So I can copy this question, this becomes number 3. What does the 7 mean in the number 17? And then I can just go and put a new image in here for the number 17. So I can make these real quick, I get a quick turnaround in terms of doing that. And again, what's really useful is the responses section. I can go in and look at that and see by the question how many of my learners have got it right or wrong. So if I've got half my class getting this one wrong, I know it's something I need to go back and recap. Or I can look at the individual learners, I can look at the individual respondents in my class. It took George a minute and a half. He's raced through that, that's maybe the problem here, but I can go through and say he's good with that, he's not quite sure with that, and he's not quite, actually I'm going to have to go back and have a wee chat with George, he's missing the concept of place value here. So I can use my forms for that, and again, what I've done for this is I got to share, and I'm just going to copy that link, and I put that into my assignment. So when I created that assignment, that's the wrong team. When I created my assignment, I've added that in as a link. So if I go back to my assignment and edit it, I'll show you how I added the form. You can make a forms assignment, but I prefer to do it this way. So when I'm creating my assignment, I've already made my form and I just want to add it as a resource. So add resource, and I'm just going to put a web link in, paste that form, and it'll already put the title in there for me. So it's that place value called this. I'm going to have to call it number 2 because I've already got a copy of that there. So I can attach that, and that quiz is now a part of my week's learning. So that's the kind of numeracy ideas. Again, you can use these, take images. Again, once you've snapped the image, again, if you're using a mobile device, you probably use screenshot or screen capture for that and upload the image to or copy the image and put it into OneNote. You can do that. If I go into a class notebook, I will be able to insert an image from my device. So if I've used a mobile device, take a screenshot of my Dean's blocks and then go to insert, and I can insert an image somewhere. Go here, insert picture from device, or even from the camera if they've done that with the lentils on the desk. I can insert it from a file on my computer, and I can upload a screen capture. So you can do that with mobile devices as well.